Argument is based on only one point about the 42,000.
No.
And he says that is the reason why we are going to march for Bersih 3. That's rubbish. We're not going just for that. Had he been listening to Ambiga, he would have realized that the issue is much bigger than that. And that we are going to for Bersih 3 for a bigger. As for his point about Google Earth, my friend.
Question, sir.
I would like to just make this point. How can he say that in terms of Google Earth, people get transferred out of the original constitution?
Alright,
my friend is from Damansara, Jaya, and now she's been moved to Kuala Kangsar. Is that you do the Google Earth? Please explain that.
Thank you, Yunus. I'm not saying that you are going out just because of the 42,000. I'm saying that you are going out based on a series of misrepresentation for which I don't have the time to go through one by one. I'm picking on certain cases. I picked on the 42,000. I picked on the 19,342 based on the reallocation of locality, correction of locality based on the Menteri Besar's case. I picked on the 3.1 million voters based on Menteri Besar himself not wanting to update his own address with SPR. So those are certain cases that I've taken. I can't go through every single one. But all I'm saying is that if these particular cases, there are also evidence of misrepresentation, what more all the other cases? I'm not saying, look, I'm not imputing bad faith on Datuk Ambiga. I have respect for her. I think that she believes in what she's doing, which is fine. But at the end of the day, come and talk. Now, your specific point about Google Earth, that's the fact of the matter. There has to be a border between Selangor and Wilayah Persekutuan. There has to be a border. If you look at a map, your case of Kuala Kangsar, you just raised it tonight, is new evidence. It's not admissible in court. If you give me a chance to answer, to research, I'll find out. No, you can't pop up with new evidence. I'm addressing certain things that I've had a chance to look at. There must be a border between Wilayah and Selangor, and that's where the border is. If you don't believe me, go tonight and check Google Earth. Now, just wrapping up this point. My issue is very simple. These issues are very complex and very detailed, based on laws, regulations, and precedents. Now, Datuk Ambiga said, put us in a room with the SPR. Okay, the last time she was at SPR was November 2010. Oh, hang on a second. I know you wanted to see them after that, but after Bersih 2.0, no interaction at all. Confrontation. The only way you're talking to them is through press conferences, through On-Can Meng's presentation. There's 3 million, 3 million, 3 million. Let's sit down. Let's get together. You know, when the SPR came to Parliament 2 weeks ago to have a briefing for all members of Parliament, not just BN and Pakatan Rakyat. You know how many Pakatan Rakyat MPs showed up? 10. 10 Pakatan Rakyat MPs showed up. That's how much they care about this. So, Datuk Ambiga, I know you are very disappointed with Pakatan Rakyat for hijacking Bersih. I know you are very disappointed with Pakatan Rakyat MPs who are on the Parliamentary Select Committee. They didn't do anything. Your submission, Bersih's submission, was 34 pages long. Azmin Ali's minority report was 3 pages long. So, come together with us. Let's go and see SPR. Let's go and see SPR. I don't care if you demonstrate on Saturday. That's your right. But come to SPR. I will be there. Let us look at the names, the numbers, IC numbers, and let's put an end to this once and for all.
Okay. Thank you very much. But can I just address the audience? Right, guys, this is not an auction. Right? This is a debate. So please, keep calm and let's be objective. Let's just go straight to your response to that.
Yes, quick one. The difference between you and me, YB, is that you believe what EC says, we don't. And a lot of people don't. And I gave you reasons for that. When I said put SPR in the same room, not to discuss anything, we have no confidence in them. We will debate it. We will debate it. That's what we're saying. All the MPs, in front of all the MPs, we'll put up our figures. We want EC to give answers. They can put up their figures. We will give answers. That's how I want to do it. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Can I ask one question? One question. Just rejoin me. It's not a point. I just want to ask a question from the sincerity of my heart. You say that you do not trust the Election Commission.
No.
You have been on record to say that they must resign. So, what is the point for you to ask to see the Election Commission?
Debate them. No, debate them.
If we want a solution, Datuk Ambiga, can I ask you a question? If there is an answer that the Election Commission gives, yang masuk akal, that boleh pakai lah, are you willing to accept that? Or are you willing to say that I do not accept anything that the Election Commission says?
What we are saying is we have queries, we want answers. To date, we have not got answers. Let me give you another reason why we're asking the EC to resign. On Thursday, last Thursday, all right, this piece of legislation was rushed through Parliament. This is after PSC and they talk about transparency, we are cleaning every day. This was rushed through Parliament. And this is the Election Offences Act. Now, they had put a few amendments through, but these are the two main ones. They withdrew two of them. The booth to be provided by Election Commission 26A1. The Election Commission shall provide the booth. Then you have a sub 2 and sub 3. Sub 2 and sub 3 allows for the election agents of a candidate to be present there. They have deleted that. That means in the EC booth, you are only going to have EC. Which means people who walk in, you won't be able to check. That's the idea of this. What are they fearing? And you know what the reasoning is? I read the answers. The reasoning is because there's too much problems. What problems? They couldn't say. Why did they do that? How can you not be suspicious? Why is it they don't want them to be checked? They have polling agents and counting agents in the polling center. They can't see from the distance that they're sitting. Which means your indelible ink also is of no use because you can't tell from that distance whether that person's finger is marked. Please explain to me why, and all these are recommendations of SPR. What I want to know is, why didn't they say tell the PSC that they were going to suggest this amendment? Why? Because PSC actually issued a map of the polling station. This is how it should be drawn. Shouldn't they have said, actually, we're going to move this amendment? No, they rushed it through on the last day of Parliament. One more reason. Section 9A, which was passed after the Likas case. If you know about the Likas case, which talked about phantom voters, that brave judge who came out and set aside the elections because of 4,000 odd phantom voters in Sabah. After that, because the judge actually was very firm and very stern with the EC because he found there was fraud by the EC in registering those voters. After that, an amendment is passed in Parliament which disallows anyone from questioning the electoral roll. So which means we can't even go to court on it. You don't have an independent arbiter. Last sentence. No independent arbiter. Which means we are at the mercy of the Election Commission. That's like making Nero fire chief.
I'll answer in the answers later.
Okay, alright. Now we're going to ask another question from a member of the audience.
On April 2012, they mentioned that a meeting with the SPR is a waste of time. I would like to request that rather than sitting in Dataran Merdeka, I wanted to just sit with the SPR and EC election commissions to map out the best things moving forward. Because from the last Bersih 2 to Bersih 3, there has been not much action being taken from his side to discuss the issues. And no point talking to the media. They should sit down with them, put up a role plan, see how we can address the issue and make the country better and people can enjoy those benefits.
Thank you for the question, Shawul. I think the point is this. Because of all the evidence that we have seen, as far as we are concerned, this is going to be the dirtiest elections. That's our fear. All right, that's our fear. And yes, and we have good reasons for saying that. And at the end of the day, all we ask is, please guarantee that you will implement. Fulfilling for me in the English language means implement. Doesn't mean writing about it. It means you write and you implement. All we're asking, delay the elections. Please, delay the elections. Give us time. And we, July last year, we actually, civil society offered to sit in a non-partisan, in a group where both parties would be represented, all parties, political parties would be represented, as well as civil society. And we said, form an independent panel, and we will help clean up the electoral roll. If they had done that in July last year, it would be done by now. But can you see the reluctance of EC to have someone independent looking over their shoulder in relation to the electoral roll? That is even the PSC recommendation they're not accepting. So this is what we fear, you see. So to me, talking to them is of no use. We want a new set of people who are not going to behave like civil servants. That's all we're asking for. And all we want is, that's why I'm saying, we want what you want. And we are happy to sit with all the MPs, sit, hear us out, hear the figures that we put up, hear our experts. It's not from me, I'm quoting figures from experts. We have a mapping expert who talks about this. That's why we don't know what map EC is using. Google map, this map, that map. He says there's a confusion which map they're using. And by the way, I understand Tan Sri Khalid was paying rates to PJ. So I don't know how he became a KL, this common sense, a KL constituency. That's the other thing. So much as I understand, everybody wants us to talk. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Not with this EC. I'm sorry.
I came here expecting a spirit of cooperation and reasonableness. No, seriously. Because ultimately, if Datuk Ambiga, if you have already said we cannot work with the EC, we want this EC to resign, we cannot cooperate with this EC, we don't trust this EC, then it's a foregone conclusion. You've already put it front and center that this election is going to be dirty, that is going to be beyond repair. That's why you come up with all these figures. And even when I come forward to give you arguments which I've gotten from the Election Commission themselves, as an MP I asked them, you might ask how come he's talking about, no, I asked them. Just like every other MP was allowed to ask them, I actually did my homework, I went back and asked them, but you cannot even accept that. That's my problem. The issue of the map, also you can't accept that Jalan Datuk Abu Bakar is the border between Wilayah and Selangor. Even that you reject. That's extremely unreasonable. And if you want to really go down to detail one by one, you say, you leave it to the experts. Okay. On Kian Meng said, amongst other things, he said there were new army and postal voters who are above the recruitment age, which is 30 years old. Initially I thought these were people who were reservists, who joined the regular army, and they are allowed to join over 30 years old, but they were not. They were in the latest role. So I did my check. What happened was, these army officers previously had an IC, a normal civilian IC, but they never informed SPR that they had received a military IC. That's why they were double registered on the electoral roll, and they have to be taken out. You see, the burden of proof in our electoral system is that we need to inform the EC. If you passed away, your next of kin has to inform the EC. If you change address, you have to inform the EC. Now, this is something that we can talk in the long term, but that is protecting the constitutional right of voters so they're not stricken off. That's the issue. If you talk, Ong Kian Meng again, you referred to Ong Kian Meng, he said there are now wives of police officers registered as postal voters. He said this is against the law because only wives of army personnel are allowed to be registered as postal voters. Tiba-tiba dia cari, dia kata ada wives of police officers registered as postal voters. I checked. I said, what are these cases of wives of police personnel registered as postal voters? This is part of the fraud that she claims is perpetuated by the EC. These are all spouses of a particular police unit called PGA, Pasukan Gerakan Am. If anyone knows about the police, PGA is an infantry unit for the police. They are a paramilitary unit. Only wives of the PGA who serve like the army, who serve at the border, who serve in Kelantan, who serve in Greek, who serve in Kedah, are given the right to register as postal voters. I give you that example. Also, you cannot accept. You cannot say, no, this is illegal. But under the regulation, they are allowed to register whoever they deem fit as postal voters. Not all spouses of police personnel, but in this case, police personnel from the PGA, who are like the army. They are sent to camps to the border. They are sent into the hutan. Therefore, they are given the same privilege as army personnel's wives. dialogues. So there's an explanation. If I explain like that, a lot of you say, okay, but the problem is we come back to the fundamental problem, is that you don't trust the EC. And I'm having a tough time trusting you tonight, because there's nothing that I can say to bring you to the table and not debate the EC, Datuk. I'm asking you to come and talk to them so that we can get to the bottom of all these issues.
What we are prepared to do is come and talk to all the MPs. We will come and explain our side. You see, if only EC had invited us to your taklimat that they had with the MPs the other day, we would have gone. And we would have raised all these issues. But there's no point talking to an EC. We've done it before. And even these issues were raised with the... sorry, did I cut you?
No, you cut me off.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, and likewise, you said there's no point talking to the EC. Likewise, if you put yourself in the shoes of the EC, there's no point talking to you. Every time you have a press conference, you say, resign. See, I'm here as a man of peace tonight. You and the Election Commission. I can call the other MPs. We don't need all the MPs there. I can call Azmin, I can call Anthony, I can call Hatta, who are part of the Pakatan Rakyat Parliamentary Select Committee. You sit down. And we go through each and every one of these. The problem here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking in cross purposes. She has a PC saying 300,000. Suddenly inflation, ready 3.1 million voters. The EC explains, she doesn't want to listen. So let's get to the bottom of this. There is enough time. There's enough time before the next general elections.
Can I ask if you are giving a guarantee that all the demands of Bersih, which are contained in the PSC, will be implemented before the 13th general elections? That's all we want to hear. Is that what you're saying?
That's all.
May not be in your hands.
That's all I know lah. You look down on me, I'm no use chief, no government position. But, you know, I came here to talk to you. And although it's beyond my powers, but I give you my assurance that if you are asking for a meeting with cross-MP representation, with the Election Commission, I will try my best to make it. And that is not even conditional on condition that you cancel Saturday's march. No.
Okay.
I can assure you it will not be cancelled.
Alright, speakers, I have to stop you there. We're going to go for the next question, yeah?